Okay, so let's look at, stop it. I don't know if any of you have dogs. No, she just sneezed. Okay. So coming up, okay, so organizations have a strategy. They also have a structure. And week 2, stop it. Week 2 is about different structures. You're going to read about different structures in the DAFT paper, which is loaded onto, you didn't buy that. It's a PDF that's loaded onto Canvas. And DAFT also wrote the book on organizational structure. So this is very famous. And look, it's got 33 slides, and let's go over each one. No, let's not. Let me just give you some highlights as you will work through this this week. So here are the focus questions. These are the things you should know. And the way I have designed the PowerPoints is to address each of these focus questions, right? So if it's not in a focus question, should you fret about it? No, you don't need to fret. You don't need to fret about anything in this class, but you should focus on the focus questions. All right. So why do organizations exist? To enable people to get things done. 3 key components. Formal reporting relationships. And how are formal reporting relationships shown? What kind of a diagram? Anybody know? That's right, Lauren, an org chart. We don't call it an org diagram because that might be a question as well. I seem to remember these questions because I wrote the test. It's an org chart, usually top person at the top and it flows down. Right. And organizations are, the structure organizes the people. And as we'll find out, or as we know, information systems in an organization mimic its structure. So when you, organizations change their structure, some organizations change their structure frequently, and you don't even know who you're reporting to this week because they change so much. So reporting relationships are shown in an organizational chart, and information systems and the flow of information in an organization often mirrors its structure. So one problem is when organizations change their structure, and we'll talk about this, sometimes they have to change their information systems. And that can be an impediment. But here I digress. Okay. So here's an org chart of Homeland Security. Is this a vertical structure or a horizontal structure? Do you think? It looks horizontal, doesn't it? Where's the vertical part? Which part of the diagram has in the middle? No, but that's what it looks like. Where's the vertical part? Okay, let me ask another question. Who does this person report to?
The secretary.
Right, there's a voice there. Thank you, Lauren. How about this person?
again the secretary, and it flows down. It looks like most people do report to the secretary on this org chart.
That's right. That is right. So this is a little bit deceiving, correct? Everybody here reports to the secretary. So that's what we would call a flat structure. It's not very vertical. There's no layers. Where's the vertical part here? Somebody to the right. That's right. Chief of staff, right. Here's vertical. These guys here report to the chief of staff, who then reports to the secretary. This is the vertical part. So I just throw this out there. So this is one instance of an org chart. Right? So it shows reporting relationships, and it shows some flows. It shows reporting relationships. All right. So just to throw that out there. Vertical information flow is for control. Horizontal information flow is for coordination and collaboration. So different structures, there are, let's see, pluses and minuses to different organizational structures. And so ideally, an organization chooses a structure for a rational reason. If you have the wrong structure, you will either get, you as a person working in that organization will get too little information or too much information, because the flow of information is dictated by the structure. And so in this DAFT reading, DAFT on org structure, let's just, what functions does an organizational structure serve? Division of labor, who's reporting to whom, who does what roles, and the boundaries of the organization. Right, what is division of labor? I think we know that. What are the three? Okay, so take a guess. What are the three basic structural forms? Any ideas? One starts with an F, one starts with a D. Well, that's a good guess, Corey. Functional. Functional, yes. Functional. What's the one that starts with a D? Yes, divisional. Lauren, did you have this course already?
No, I work for a big company.
Okay, and the other one is matrix, M. M for matrix. All right, now, each of these, and there are others, there's combinations. Very few companies of a decent size have just a pure organizational structure. So they can be combinations, and we'll get to that. But so functional, divisional, and matrix. So characteristics of functional. Division of labor according to, you got it, functions. Processes must be created that cross functions. Why? Because functions are like standalone, and if you're in a function, that's who you work with. So we have to create business processes that span functions. So let's just, my pictures aren't all coming out right, but okay, so here is examples of functions in an organization. We have the finance function, we have human resources, we have engineering, marketing, production, and there are more, right? So here's a functional org chart at the top, and here's a divisional at the bottom. Now take a look at this. What are the functions up here? Give me one. If you can read, you can answer this.
Research and development.
Research and development. How about, give me another one, somebody. Accounting, great. Give me another. Marketing. And I know why you didn't type manufacturing, because it's so long. Okay, great, Nick. Manufacturing. Okay, so there are 4 functions. Now, 1 president, 4 functions. Now we look at the division. How many divisions are there? Right, 3. What functions are in the electronic publishing? R&D, manufacturing, accounting, and marketing. How about office automation? The same? Right. R&D, manufacturing, accounting, and marketing. How about, my dog's back. Hello, Ellie. How about virtual reality? The same. Correct. Now, which org structure has economies of scale? Stop, you're making noise. No answer to that. So what's economy of scale? Go, stop it. What's economies of scale? Okay, so with economies of scale, you get, you can do, you need fewer to do the same thing. So let's just take accounting. That's easy to understand. Which structure has more accountants in it, do you think? The functional structure or the divisional structure? Divisional has more, right? Here's some accountants, here's some accountants, here's some accountants. How about, right? So they're repeated, manufacturing. Do you think there's some waste when we have to repeat functions like this? And the answer is, starts with a Y. Yes, right. So the reason that there is waste is because there's overhead in each one of these. So, you know, everybody over here has to have a boss. Everybody over here has to have a boss. Everybody here has to have support staff and support staff and support staff. Just for instance, now up here, everybody has a boss. But they may not have to have 3 bosses. 1, 2, 3 bosses here. They may not have to have as many support staff here, here, and here. So with a functional structure, we get efficiencies. We get economies of scale. We can increase our accounting, the size of our accounting department, but we won't need as many. We won't need as many support staff. We may be able to do more work with less people. Do you see that? So if I were to show you this and show you this and show you this and show you this, which has the economy of scale? Functional. And if we look back here, organized requires lots of between functions. Activities grouped together by function promotes economies of scale. And that's the reason. All right. So each structure has benefits and costs associated with it, just like everything else. What is the major weakness? Inability to respond to change. So if you have a company and you're in an environment that doesn't change much, you may be able to to work in a functional form and get some economies of scale. If you're in a dynamic environment that is impacted with changes in technology, like most companies are today, you're not going to be able to change as fast as the market demands, and so you might have a different organizational structure. So, divisional. Group diverse functions into divisions, organized according to outputs. So here, this electronic publishing, everybody in here is focused on electronic publishing. Everyone here, office automation. Everyone here, virtual reality. You have to work on coordination across divisions, just like in the functional, you have to work on coordination between functions. So communication and coordination is a challenge in functional when you cross from accounting to finance to marketing. You have to make efforts, extra effort. So you have to have some processes in there. And if none of this is making sense to you right now, just keep coming back. This lingo will start to make sense. When is the division most appropriate? Excellent structure when the environmental uncertainty, you can quickly adapt to changes. What are the weaknesses? You lose economies of scale because you have repetition. Divisions may work against each other, like compete against one another for resources. One favorite resource that people are always trying to get more of is what? It's green. Anybody? Money. Right. So in the division, if division A is producing products and division B is producing products and A wants to produce a new product and B wants to produce a new product and they both take more money, they could start fighting with each other. And that shouldn't be hard to realize because it happens all the time. Now, has anybody ever had two bosses at the same time? And how did that work, Lauren? Or Eva? How did that work?
I had a vertical or horizontal boss. So it's basically a dotted line to another manager.
Right.
I mean, you take direction from both of them, but the one has a little bit more pull over the other.
Yeah. All right. And any challenges?
Time.
Yes.
Time's a big one, because you're split in half a lot.
Right. Okay.
If they have different visions on things, that can cause some issues as well.
Right. Okay. So just as it might sound, having two bosses isn't always a party. You know, kids can relate if they have two parents. One says one thing, the other says another thing. They don't agree. Like, which one are you supposed to listen to? So if you're my kid, you just don't listen to anybody. Here with the matrix, you have two bosses, a dual reporting relationship. You may have divisional and functional managers have equal, and notice that that's in quotes, equal authority, because it's never quite equal, as Lauren said. Somebody has a little more than another. So here's an example of a matrix. And so we see this person here works in product A in design for product A. This person over here, manufacturing for product A. Here, manufacturing for product B. So if you have a boss that's related to product B and a boss that's related to manufacturing, you have two bosses. Now, the good thing is there are pluses. The good thing is, see all these lines? and they're connected, there's better flow of information between manufacturing and product. Manufacturing and product, right? If product B slows down in manufacturing, can I take some of these people and kind of move them to product A? Well, yes, because they're all in manufacturing. It's maybe not ideal, but I can kind of shuffle people around a little bit here. So I can get some economies of scale if I need them. And by shuffling people around, knowing that there are some similarities because we're all in manufacturing here. But it may differ somewhat by the product we would expect. But there's better flow of communication, horizontal flow of communication. So the people in design are connected to the people in manufacturing, who talk to the people in marketing, who talk to, I can't even read what that says, right? These people are connected. And these people are connected. So there's better flow of information. There's better communication. When is it most appropriate? Uncertainty, environmental pressures are from two or more critical dimensions, such as a function and a product. There's high interdependence between departments, and you also need economies of scale. Weaknesses, you got two bosses. All right, now, there's also horizontal teams. In a horizontal structure, some organizations are flat, which is opposite. Horizontal is opposite of vertical. So a flat structure, you get rid of layers of management. Here you're working in teams, team 1, team 2, team 3, see how they're connected. And some organizations work well in teams is what I say. More flexibility and rapid response. Some companies really have to change their organizational culture to work in teams. It's a flat structure. And if you were hierarchically structured before, some people have just lost power and have lost power. So people don't usually like to lose power. So that can be a problem. Are you with me? I know you haven't read this yet. And then we have hybrid. So hybrid structure. Most sizable companies do not have a pure form, a pure structure. They have a combo. So here we have functions. If we look over here, we have finance, strategy, and communication and human resources. Functions. This is a functional structure. Down here, we have horizontal teams. So this is a hybrid structure. Over here, we have another hybrid structure. Again, we have functions here, and we have products down here. And, there we have it. That's my overview. So here's what we've done to recap. We've looked at the syllabus. We have agreed that I'm going to add something in the syllabus about late assignments, and it's going to say you will lose 40% of your points if you turn it in within 24 hours late, and that I won't be grading it if it's beyond 24 hours late. And I think we're clear on that. And my reason is I've got a lot of classes to teach, and exception processing takes a lot of time. If there's some emergency, let me know, but it better be an emergency. Otherwise, get your work done on time. And I think I'm pretty easy to get along with. I usually have a good rapport with my students. I expect to have the same with you. We do not have class next week, but we will have class 2 weeks from now on week 3. And I will review what we've been doing and get you set up for the next week. Does that sound all right? Are there any questions? Any comments? Anybody confused? All right. I appreciate your attendance tonight, and I hope this was worthwhile. And if there isn't anything more, I think we're done for tonight. And I look forward to reading your assignments, and I will be working on those to get those graded. All right. Thank you all. Night.